Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. We're here in the Lockheed Constellation again for our third leg, from Gander to LaGuardia. As you can see, I'm sitting on the ramp and our little friend over there in, what is that, a beach baron or something? He is the same guy that flew in with us on the previous video. He's the guy that gave us an escort. Actually, what view am I trying to do here? He's the guy that gave us an escort in from Gander. As we descended into Gander, he flew in with us and did some formation. And the reason why he and I had an altitude discrepancy when I landed was because he was running this scenery while I was running the default scenery. And you can see this is a scenery by Orbex. I didn't think there was any scenery for Gander until he told me about this. This is actually freeware. So this is a freeware scenery by Orbex that I never realized they had. So I just installed it, and thanks to him we now have some nicer looking scenery to fly out from Gander with, and that's not bad for static scenery actually. So we're going to fly from Gander to LaGuardia, as I say. I've already done this flight once, and I don't know where he's gone, but he disappeared. I've already done this flight once, and we crashed a number of times outside Gander, and also my audio did not record correctly, so I thought it's best just to re-record it again. So let's go and have a look at Plan G. Okay, so here in Plan G we can see our new route from Gander down to LaGuardia in New York. We're going to be doing a pretty VOR intensive route today. You can see the VOR ranges that I've brought up on the screen. So you can see we'll be flying outbound from Gander to the southwest, and then we will come and hit, ironically, Sydney VOR. Sydney, I was actually flying in the PMDG 747 in and out of Sydney recently, and that's part of the reason why this video has been a little bit delayed, is that I've been having so much fun in the PMDG 747, as well as last week I flew over to Norway to do some film work for aviation for an academy out there. So a good week of work. Sorry. I've got a cold at the moment, so my brain and my voice is kind of not working terribly well. So yeah, I've been a bit busy recently, but here we are. So that's Sydney VOR, and Plan G has just decided to stop working. Great. I think this might happen a little bit too often. But anyway, is he back? Is he back? I think he might be back. Nope, not yet. Let's just open up Plan G again and VAT spy while we're about it. Okay, so let's reload Gander to New York. Okay, so so, and then inbound. Ooh, let's just go view. Let's go. No, not that one. Let's go information, and where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Plan. Yes. Right, so we're going, and then past Halifax, and then through Yarmouth, and then down to Nantucket VOR, which is where we've got some new scenery by Blue Yonder, very beautiful scenery, and then into to Sandy Point, and then the Bridgeport VOR, which will bring us into LaGuardia. These two VORs are quite short-range VORs. If I just rearrange them, you can see the actual ranges of them are not terribly large, so you have to do a bit of dead reckon flying to get around those. And some other legs I'm actually going to be flying outside the ranges of the VOR, so there are certain sections where I'll be flying blind, or mostly blind, because I can, so for instance at Gander, if I just bring up the range for this, you can see it doesn't reach to Sydney, and the Sydney VOR doesn't reach to Gander. So there's a point in which I'll start flying in this direction, but not see the Sydney VOR yet in this area, which means I'm going to be traveling outbound on the outbound radial from Gander until I pick up the inbound radial for Sydney. So there's certain ways we can work to fly properly in proper IMC conditions. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If I hit connect, that's where we should appear. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave the. I'm actually just going to zoom in. I'm going to make the ranges so we can see those all. VOR range and VOR range. What I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize Plan G so that I can't actually see how good I'm doing on Plan G, and I won't actually look at Plan G again until the end of the video, so that we can then go back and see, okay, VOR to VOR navigation actually works because, you know, I've got it from A to B. So I'm actually going to leave it just like this, and hopefully I'm not going to look at it again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to screenshot this screen. I'm going to go open up Photoshop, and I'm just going to use this flight plan list with all of these things inside. I'm going to use that as my only navigational aid. Yeah, so if I just crop that like so. Now that is the only information I'm going to use to get from Gander to LaGuardia. So it gives me the frequencies of the VORs, it gives me the headings, and it gives me the distances, which is really helpful. So that's all I'm gonna have. I'm gonna minimize that now, and my friend, oh yep, there he is. Okay, so we're gonna start setting up. Let me just tell him. Starting to set up now. Okay, so into the aircraft, let's just cycle through some views. Let's first check that our engines are all okay. And thank you to a man on Bob Carden, I think your name is, someone who made a comment on my previous video, told me a few steps on how to actually turn the engines on, which at this point I should have nailed ages ago, but me being me, I never actually have read, or I've never memorized the manuals to do this, so that's my mistake. But I learn by doing, you know. That's the hallmark of my flight simming on YouTube. So let's just scroll up. Bob Carden, yeah. So engine startup. Mixture has to be set to cutoff, which it is, until after the engine starts. Set throttles at 11%, so roughly 11%. Inertia starter with 20 seconds with primer on. Then engage 2 seconds later during turn on mag. Once engine fires, mixture for that engine to rich, and then turn off the primer. So we should be able to make this work. Let's turn the fuel pumps on. Let us open the no, that's propellers. Let's open the cowl flaps. Is it because we need? Yeah, it's because we need electricity. Let's turn the engine that on. Let's turn on the ground blower, no, not the cooler, the heater and the master, and we should start to see our cabin temperature is a frigid -5 degrees Celsius. So that should start to rise now. We've got our cabin heater on. Let's open our cowl flaps now to max, while I drink some tea because my throat is pretty bad. You've noticed probably by now that I've got a pretty bad cold, so please excuse me for the quality of my voice. It is not the stellar quality.
Wow, that heat feels great.
Yep, good. Right. So when I go to my, I'm going to have a full load of fuel, but just make sure the oils are still okay, and I'm not going to bring the passengers into the cabin until the cabin is warm enough. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to start engine, this engine here. I'm going to try to start engine number 3. So let's go over, let's open the gang switch for the mags. Let's turn the windshield heat on. Let's turn those lights on anyway, and let's just turn on also the let's turn on the pitot heat. It's the beacon light, I think, is what we need to signal that we're going to start our engines up soon. So let's just go back here. Okay, so let's go back to Bob Carden's wise words. Mixture has been set to go. Start inertia, right. So number 3, inertia start, and number 3, let's set the prime on as well. With primer on. So we're whirring up the inertia starter. Let me just get a view here where I can see both the mag switch as well as the inertia here. Okay, so I'd say we're pretty much ready to go. What I now need to do is engage.
3 turning. Oil pressure is rising.
And turn the primer off. Fantastic. Look at that. Okay, now I can't actually hear the engine. There you go. That's better. Nope, nope. Don't die on me. It's because I didn't turn the mixture on. Oh, yes, I didn't turn the mixture on in time. Ah, I was so close to doing that, Bob. I'm sorry. Let's try this again. But I've got the magic mixture now, so just make sure 15. I've got the magic formula. Okay, so engine engage. Okay, whir up that inertia again. I'm gonna do this. I mean, there's no way I'm not gonna make this work. Is it because it's flooded, maybe? Engine flooded. Ugh.
Oil pressure is okay.
Okay, so I've got an engine started. That is... just can't hear it terribly well. It sounds very quiet. Anyway, okay. So let's start up our number 2 engine now. Let's just bring that back. And I'm going to taxi.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? We are about to start boarding the aircraft.
2 turning.
Please.
Ground control, Captain. Holding cargo.
Okay, maybe not. Tell me. Okay. Turn the primer on.
Sir, Johnny Cash is on the passenger list.
Johnny Cash is on the passenger list. Are you serious? I have Johnny Cash. Okay, I've succeeded in flooding all 4 of my engines for some reason. Okay, which means I'm gonna leave my engines to to my first officer. I'm just going to keep this number 3 turned on.
Captain, we have a VIP on board.
Yeah, thank you. That's really good. I really need to be careful now. Okay, let's turn on number 3 generator. You can see that number 3 engine is generating some electricity. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see the volts coming in from number 3. Yeah, so things are going over. Okay, that engine is idling well. So I'm glad about that. I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to turn on my avionics now, or my radio master. Sorry about that. Now I'm going to go and just dial into VATSIM now, and that is 122.8 for Unicom. You should hear it click. No? Okay. Okay, that's how I know I'm on the frequency. Let's turn on my transponder and leave my transponder to 1200. And our first... Oh, I shouldn't be opening that up. Our first is... let's open this up just before we start the flight, and that should be 112.7. That's 112.7, and then the next, or our first, is 114.9. 114.9. Okay. So our outbound leg from Gander is, well, our inbound radial to Sydney is 257. So let's hit 257 on our range selector, like so, and we'll go from there. We'll get into the air first, and then we'll sort it out. Sort it out in the air. Okay, so is our passengers in? Let's hit real fast upload. There we go. So exit closed. Everything ready to go.
Ground crew to Captain. Cargo is loaded and the door is shut.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir, I'll get it all set up.
Right, so he's setting, turning on the remaining engines.
Everyone
Oil
is on
pressure
board
is
and the
rising.
doors are locked.
Oil pressure is okay.
We're going to need our wing de-icer and prop de-icer.
Oil pressure is rising.
Okay,
Sheltered air set.
Thank you. We want to have our landing lights on.
Good morning, everybody.
Nose light.
My name is
APU off.
Betty, and I'm your head stewardess for the flight
Pass
today.
light. Not pass light
I'm
yet.
just going over some safety and emergency
Oil system
procedures.
check.
You'll find emergency landing instructions in the back of the seat in front of you.
Okay, Captain, all
To
systems are
fasten your
set.
seatbelt, simply slip the strap through the buckle and pull until secure. Please keep your seatbelt fastened until the captain has turned.
Can't hear the engines. That's really weird. Maybe it's some bug. Okay, let's just do a controls check. Okay, controls are doing well. Yep, that's fine. Okay, in terms of, I'm actually going to push back because I don't want to hit the wing of that aircraft there. I'm going to put my
Follow
flaps
the
down
waistband
to...
and pull it tight.
Takeoff flaps.
In case we need to exit the airplane, there are 8 emergency exits.
Okay, yeah, that's really weird. Oh, actually, if I minimize... Okay. Sometimes if you minimize P3D, click off of it, and then come back to it, it works, but, yeah. That's annoying. That's sad. I don't have my engine noises.
All right, they're in. We're good to go back here.
Okay, good stuff. So, pushing back, let's just quickly go and have a look.
Good
Okay,
morning
we've
to
got
you from the cockpit.
wind from
It's
the
great
south.
to have all of you flying with us today. Well,
So-
we could have had better weather, but this aircraft's designed to fly through or above it all. So
Okay.
sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
I'm going to
Our
taxi...
stewardesses are ready to serve you to make your flight an enjoyable one.
I'm going to
So
taxi
buckle up
via
and
Echo
enjoy the
to
flight.
runway 21. Okay. Where did he go? Oh, he's beside me there. Okay. Okay, and you can see, whoa! There's my reason for needing new throttle quadrants there. You see they're actually spamming all over the place. Oh, actually that's not the right taxiway. Okay, you can see my RMI needle 1 has come into play, which is good. It's very strange to fly the thing without the engine sounds. That's a bit sad that the engine sounds have stopped working, but I'm not going to restart this whole thing just for that. Just set the the RPM switch back to neutral for the moment. Runway 21 departure to Sydney. Oh, Sydney as in Sydney where that VOR was, not Sydney in Australia. That's, yeah. Okay. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the Boeing 747. I'll put up a few clips of some of the flying I've been doing so far. I've been doing some flying in the Qantas livery as well as the BA livery. So okay, all engines are working normally. That's good. It's a bit sad I can't hear the engine sounds because part of A2A is actually knowing what the engines sound like, because you can hear if the engines aren't running smoothly or anything, so... Okay, so we're going to be departing runway 21, so that's 210, so let's just set our rudder control to 210 so that when we engage our rudder, we don't get thrown around the sky. Excuse me. And let's give ourselves a little bit of up trim so that when we engage that rudder, it engage the aileron and the autopilot controls, it doesn't go crazy. Okay. Right, I'm just going to take a right-hand turn onto runway 21 and I'm ready for departure. So, those brakes.
Stewardesses, prepare for takeoff.
Okay. Away we go. Let's bring the throttles up to just underneath the red line, like so. 40 inches of manifold pressure.
Setting cowl flaps.
50. 80. 110. Rotate.
Okay. Whoa, that wind. Okay, gear coming up. And manifold pressure immediately coming down to about 32.
Gear up.
with the RPM immediately coming down to about 23. Like so. And we've also got, oh, that wind. Yep.
Setting pressurization.
Strobe light should have been gone on just before taxi, or just before takeoff, sorry. Okay, let's just see. On our engine temps are, and they're preparing breakfast. Isn't that lovely? Okay, so I'm just going to do a right turn. Whoa, that is not good. Same thing that happened last time. You see how I guess that's the wind that's doing that. Flaps coming up.
Flaps up.
I hate it when it does that. Why does it do that? Okay, that's the heading we want to be on. About 2.5, about 260, 250, 260. That's 254. Okay, let's engage autopilot. And now we start flying the aircraft off the instruments here. We can see that our first heading. Okay, I'm going to turn down those noises there. Okay, so we can see that our first heading is 257 from Gander to Sydney. So I'm going to have, so 257 is in there, and we can see we need to actually be further over to the left. So I'm actually going to turn left slightly. Let's just double check our climb settings. We've got 32, so have 32 inches of manifold pressure with 2300 RPM, which is just about there, and an auto rich, which is fine. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to intercept the outbound radial from Gander, climbing through 3,000 feet. He's 2.5 nautical miles behind me.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello from the flight deck again. We're climbing on up to our cruise altitude. Upon reaching this altitude, we'll dial a nice, smooth, quiet cruise for everyone.
Okay. So this VOR is going to come in. This radial is going to come in. Let's just have a look. So we're going from radial on the heading of 257. So we should pick that up fairly soon. Well, the radial is going to have to come around behind us. You can see it's off here. If we're heading in this direction, the radial is off to our left hand side behind us. So we have to continue to attack this radial. Yeah, you can see it starting to move ever so slightly now. So we'll wait until that comes in, and then we'll take a right hand turn onto 257 and continue our climb out from there. So, and you can see we're tracking about 11, almost 12 miles out from the VOR now on course. So outside air temperatures -6 degrees. I've just pulled my throttles back actually because I wanted our friend to catch up behind us, but he's in a DC-3 and I have a feeling... Oh, he's actually only 1.9 miles behind us now. Yeah, he's in a DC-3, so he's not the fastest. I don't think he's going to be as fast as we are, but I've just pulled that back anyway. Let's just see. 1.8 nautical miles. 1.7. Actually, no, he is 4.7. It flips around too quickly, but no, he's... It looks like he's getting further away. That's not good. Okay, so I really don't like the fact I can't hear the engines. That's bothering me. I actually don't like that, but I think we're going to continue anyway. We're going to continue anyway because we're here and we're doing... Okay, we're doing good. Okay, radial is coming in. That's good. Let's just check. He's 1.5. Okay. Okay, so radial is coming in. When that radial fully comes in, we'll turn onto a heading of 259, or 257, sorry. And we're tracking that outbound. It's a gradual climb of 500 feet, which is fine. We can do that. We can definitely do that. And we can see there's a little bit of visibility outside. So okay, radial is coming in nicely now. So soon we're going to make that turn, and we're going to making sure that our climb is continuing upwards. Okay. Okay, radial coming in. Almost there. There he is, right behind us. Okay, so the radial is pretty much there now, so we're going to turn left, or turn right to 256. I don't fully get, now that I'm not looking at Plan G, I don't get to see the wind currents now. I don't get to see where the wind is coming from, but I'm going to get a feeling for where the wind is coming from based off of our drift over time. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. And I'm going to continue my manifold pressure up a little bit. I was just keeping it low so that he can catch up easier, which he is. Look at that, 5 nautical miles behind. That's great. Okay, I'm going to increase that to increase that back up to where it should be. Too bad the engines aren't the engine sound isn't there. Ah well. I wonder why the engine sounds aren't working. There's nothing in particular that's... Is there some setting that I haven't done properly? I don't think so. You can kind of hear them in the background. I don't know. Okay, never mind though. So continuing the climb, and 140 knots indicated, and he's holding on. Just asking him what his good speed and climb rate for him is. Okay. So we can see we drifted to the right ever so slightly, which kind of confirms my original suspicions about where the wind is coming from. So I'm going to make a tiny course adjustment to the left to try and counteract that drift. Okay, so this speed is okay, about 140 knots. Okay. And in terms of V-pilot, I wonder... I wonder if V-pilot model matching. Model matching. Default. Interesting that my I do have the let's see. Where is my my DC3? De Havilland Beaver, Douglas C-47, there you go. 2 models, 0 identified. No, still a Bonanza. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but anyway, just go back in. You can feel that rattling now. Just increase my throttle again, continuing to hold 31, 32 inches of manifold. And the sun is coming out, look at that. And we're holding our radial as well, so this is great. Continuing our climb up to 9,000 feet.
Setting cow flaps.
And he's going to be descending into Sydney. So let's just start checking for the Sydney VOR. Let's just... No, actually, we can tell that the Sydney VOR isn't... We're not in range yet because the RMI-2 needle is not active. So once that does become active, we will set our course for Sydney. which is fine. We're just increasing, keeping that manifold pressure where it should be. As we ascend, the manifold pressure decreases, and okay. So one change I've made since recording the last video, folks, is I've swapped over to my to HDR lighting in P3D. I had a bit of a change of opinion, really. After playing around with it, I thought it was better. It looks better, actually, I think, than what I have previously been using, which is reshade. So okay, so yeah, he's tracking the 257 Gander radial, going to level off at 10k. See you later. Okie doke. Thank you, Alex Robinson, for joining us. So he's going to level off at 10,000. And we might see him in the future. You never know. He might pop up for another video sometime. I'm sure he will. But we here in the Constellation, we are no measly DC3. We are a Lockheed Constellation, and we climb up to 24,000 feet, and we cruise a little bit faster than a DC3 as well.
Here you go, sir.
Just increase the manifold pressure again. You can see that creeps down every time that we continue climbing, and just do a check on the RPM. RPM
There you go.
is, thank you, 2300. That's fine. Yeah. Okay, so
There you go.
unfortunately, we still kind of
Got it?
can't. Don't know why the. Okay, so flying outbound, I can see myself. Oh, okay. We're basically right on top of one another. He's a DC3 Alpha, and I am. Oh, I have no flight plan. Okay, I forgot to set that in. Let's put in my flight plan now. So, simple flight plan. Let's just go. Yeah. So, Gander to LaGuardia. Actually, no, I don't need to actually touch this. On en route time is actually about 5 hours, rather than 9 hours. I was a bit pessimistic there. Cruise speed is about 200 actually. IFR, no FMC in this aircraft, just VOR to VOR navigation. File flight plan. So there you go. Just minimize that. Ah, my poor engines. I don't know. I can't hear them. It kind of almost feels like a handicap not to hear the engines. I'm sure if I reloaded the sim. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to reduce the throttle, and he's going to bring up the high blowers, like so. And now if I push that back up to about 32, that means we've now brought our throttles down to about 70, about 69, 70 degrees. Or 70%, but yeah, we've got our much more manifold pressure to reach higher altitudes now, so that's what the ground blowers do. So Alex might pick us up later in a different aircraft, so that's good. So continuing outbound, we are 13 nautical miles now outbound from Gander, and let's just have a look at our calculations here. So Gander to Sydney is 277.9 nautical miles, right? This is the longest leg of all the legs that we're doing today. So a VOR reaches, I know, roughly 200 nautical miles. So that means we've got 78 nautical miles to run before we pick up the Sydney VOR. So if we've already ran, what, 41 miles now, we're about halfway to, roughly about halfway to the pickup point of the VOR range. So if we pan down, we might actually see him. No, he's completely gone now. Oh no, he's down there. He's 1 nautical mile down there. We're continuing our climb. Still got a good climb rate actually on up at 13,000 feet. Up now at 13,000 feet, we can turn off our. Let's actually turn the pass light on and turn the nose light off. and at this point we can now take our fastened seatbelt and no smoking off. Because it's 1940s, we can smoke in the cabin.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign, which means you can leave your seat now.
So wings and tail, passing light, strobe light beacon, cabin flood not needed. Yep, that's pretty much good. Now we're flying straight and true, and we're going to start getting into the boring cruisy bit here. But I'll do my best to cut in the video properly. Oh, just did. I'm going to make cuts in the video so that I cut most of the boring stuff out. And maybe we'll get some ATC going into LaGuardia. You never know. It is a Saturday, so one can hope. Let's just go and look on the VATSIM again. Let's just look at that. Okay, so yeah, he is going to Sydney, and I'm going to LaGuardia. So yeah, and we've got a little bit of something going on. Look, we've got three departures from Newark and a departure out of JFK. So yeah, got something going on. We might get some ATC. So we've got yeah. Let's go over to Europe. Of course, Europe is always staffed the most on VATSIM. There's London, Heathrow, and everyone else. I do like Australia. I do like Australia. I'm gonna have to do some more Australian flying soon. I do like the Australian flying, and it's sunny and warm down there. I mean, why would you not want to fly down there in this time of the year? Okay, so yeah, flights.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I have some coffee, tea, Sanka.
What is Sanka? I do not know. I'm gonna have to Google that one day. Anyway,
Hot stuff.
hot stuff. I think there's a song called Hot Stuff.
Your beverage, sir.
Or is there a film? I think there's like a...
On your right.
Yeah, is there like a Marilyn Monroe film called Hot Stuff? I'm not
On
sure.
your right.
Anyway.
Thank you.
It's just... Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so we're pretty much cruising now, folks. I will start the recording again when I pick up the range of the Sydney VOR. So I'm just going to turn the recording off and then turn it back on later. Actually, one thing I'll do is I'll save the flight, and then I will reload the flight, and hopefully our engine sounds will be back. So we'll get some engine sounds for the rest of the flight. So I will meet you back, and in a second, due to the magic of editing, you will know whether I was successful or not. So. Okay folks, so welcome back to the video. You can see that we've just picked up the Sydney VOR now, and I've also regained my engine noises, which is fantastic. So as we continue on, we're climbing through 20,000 feet now. We've only got 21,000, so we've only got 3,000 more feet until our cruise level. Temperature is negative 39 degrees Celsius, so it's pretty cold out there now. So what we're going to do is we're going to change over from the Sydney VOR, from the going outbound on the Gander VOR to inbound on the Sydney VOR. And what that's going to do is if I hit that there and I hit 257, like so, you can see we're pretty much on exactly the same radial. We're just tracking inbound to Sydney instead of outbound from Gander, so that's a very, very good indication that we're on that line perfectly. We're tracking that radial very, very well. We don't have to make any course adjustment to begin tracking the inbound radial. And as we can see now, we flipped over from. So if we flip both of them over, you see we're pretty much right on that radial. And we're 89, about 90 miles away from Gander now, and 187 nautical miles, and reducing that, as you can see, going into Sydney. So you can see that ticking down. So that was a pretty anticlimactic VOR change. But let's just check our cylinder, our manifold pressures. Keep them up at about 31 to 32. Yeah, it should be about 32 actually. So yeah, fantastic. Everything is going well. The weather is not too bad, and our friend, I believe, is. I think maybe we're too far away from him now for him to show up on our screen, but I do know I think he's below us somewhere. If I go to P3 or go to that spot, yeah, he's still below us, but he's at 10,000 feet and we're at 21,000 feet, so we're more than 10,000 feet away from him, which means we're probably too far away from him to actually see us now. Oh no, I lie. There he is. He's below us there. Three nautical miles below us. That's great. And he's probably down in the clouds, bumping around in the turbulence. But we're flying nice and high and above all of that. So 22,000 feet now. I'm going to keep the video running for the cruise section. Essentially, there's a bit of a balancing act you have to do when getting into the cruise phase of the flight, because your aircraft wants to do one thing and you want to trim it to do another. So so we're coming through. Got about 1,500 feet to climb. So until the end. Elevator boost on. Okay. See, brake selector normal. That's our rudder trim. That's our landing gear lever. Excuse me. That's our autopilot elevator mode control. Autopilot rudder remote control. 254. So, yeah. Yeah, the weather is really being very kind to us at the moment up here. I can imagine going down to Cancun. Is going to be really nice, going down across the Caribbean. Really going to enjoy that final leg down there. And of course today, you know, this KLM flight is done in one go by a 777, and in about a tiny percentage of the time that it takes us to do this whole thing. So okay, 23,000 feet, only 1,000 feet left to go before cruise. I'm actually going to bust through the cruise altitude slightly, and then I'm going to trim nose down and actually kind of come off the ledge and into a faster cruise. And I'm about to sneeze. Hang on. Nope, I didn't sneeze. Okay. Oh, and we met a little bit of a wind change there. As you can see, the aircraft creaked a little. But fantastic. Fantastic radial tracking. I'm really pleased about that. And continuing our climb. So lights are on. We take those lights off now. Pass light is okay. Beacon and strobe and pitot are good to stay on. Yeah. So yeah. Props and wing de-ice can come off. Of course, carb anti-ice can come off. We're not really flying through any moisture yet, but as soon as we pick that up, we're going to have to think about that. So, but yeah, let's just trim up a little bit more. Continue with this climb. See, we're 29 inches manifold pressure. Actually, we should be just about 31 inches manifold pressure at 24,000 feet. So I have a feeling there's something slightly off. Maybe it is our yeah, maybe we do need to turn the carbs on, and that should increase our manifold pressure. No, he's just gone and turned them off again. No, he's not. They're still on. But that hasn't changed anything, actually. So So yeah, that hasn't changed anything. Oh well. Our engines are at 100%. Okay, so coming up to 24,000 feet now, we're going to start to think about leveling off and increasing our speed. Actually, no, we'll continue the climb through 24, like I said, and yeah, I'm going to give ourselves maybe 300 extra feet to play with. Oh, and by the way, I should really set my altimeter to 1013 anyway, because that's standard flight levels. That's there. Okay, so we're actually an extra 1,000 feet more than we needed. So let's just reduce our elevator to bring us onto some level. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim nose down, and we're going to start descending. But as we start descending, we're actually picking up speed in our descent, and as we pick up speed, the wings generate more lift, which brings us up. So actually, as I trim down, or as I send the elevator control for the autopilot down, that descent will actually correct itself, and we will come back to flying level again. If you look, you see, that's receding. And as our speed climbs, our aircraft actually physically climbs with it. So that will kind of sort itself out. So we can do that again. Let's just, now that's kind of level, let's just put in a little bit more nose down, and we just continue doing this until we get up to roughly 200 knots of speed. And that's why we've climbed a bit higher than 24,000 feet. So we've got 700 feet to play with here. So as we descend, we gain speed. As we gain speed, we gain lift, which brings us back up, and then we'll trim down again. And our trim, actually, as you can see, our trim is 2.1 degrees up. So we actually have a certain amount of trim that we could actually be trimming down. Just add in a bit more trim. Actually, just put it down to about 0. Yeah. Okay, so put the trim down to 0, and now the trim is set. We can play with this, because the trim and the elevator control are separate. So it's nice to have my trim completely centered and then just hold altitude via the autopilot elevator control instead. Because you could have trim like fully nose down and then the elevator control fully nose up, and that would just be fighting against itself. Wouldn't be a good idea. So let's just continue putting the nose down, and so you can see the aircraft attitude is actually level, even though we have a nose down selection in the autopilot. So climbing through 180 knots now, which is nice. We'll just continue this process until we are going as fast as we can at a level. And we can see we're slightly to the left of the radial, so I'm actually going to hit the D to resync the RMI heading up to the actual magnetic compass, and in doing so, that's given us a tiny amount of right-hand bank to reset our course. But I'm just going to add in 256. I'm going to add 2 extra degrees right-hand turn. We could see now we've pretty much leveled off just 200, but we've got an extra 200 feet. I'm just going to add another couple percentage into the autopilot system to bring us down to probably right on 2,400 feet. So, and that's just going to continue to climb. And if we left the aircraft to itself, it probably would eventually climb up to 200 knots, but it would just take a long time for it to gain that momentum. What we're doing is we're just doing a step. So we're basically climbing higher than we needed to, and then stepping down to accelerate faster into our proper cruise. So it's actually just being more efficient with aircraft and using the aerodynamics and using gravity to actually bring us into a higher cruise speed faster, which creates a more efficient cruising attitude for longer. I'm getting a bit technical there, but it makes sense. And of course, all of this is fully automated in our today's aviation. You know, today we've got 747, 777, 737, all of these aircraft. Airbus do all of this, all computerized and automated, and you just set in your cost index, and it just it sets the right speed. It tells you what's the best. Oh, what did I do? Accidentally just. Oh, I right-clicked that by accident, and that reset it to 0. Okay, good to know for later. So yeah, the Airbus, and all of the modern jets will tell you what is the optimum flight, the optimum altitude to be at. Let's just turn a little bit further to the right. As you can see, we don't want to drift too far from the radial there, so we're on VATSIM. So. Okay, folks, so we're pretty much established in a good cruise now, and we're still 149 nautical miles out from Sydney. So what I'll do at this point in the video is I will again pause the video, or I will stop the video now, and I'll come back to you in when we get closer to Sydney. And when we get closer to Sydney, I will start the video again, and I will flip from the inbound radial to the outbound radial of Sydney, and then we'll be tracking outbound to Halifax, and thence on to our destination. So I might just come back to you at Sydney, and then when we've done the Sydney transition, I'll just skip all the way to, say, Nantucket or something, because I don't want to be repeating the same thing over and over again when you guys don't really need to see that. But if there's anything interesting that happens in the flight, I'll let you know, of course. So thanks very much, guys. I will come back to you at Sydney. So I've got 145 nautical miles to run, and I'll see you later. Hi folks, I'm back, and as you can see, we have pretty much got as far as we can to Sydney. We're about 6 nautical miles away, and
Gentlemen, I have some coffee, tea, Sanka.
thank you. I'm just adjusting my course to the right-hand side because in the last half an hour, I've been progressively pushed further and further south.
On your left.
The wind right now is coming quite strongly from my right-hand side, pushing me off course to the left. As you can see, my localizer is off course now.
Got it.
And we'll probably see this at the end of the flight on Plan G. We'll probably see the actual
Down your left.
the time at which the wind changed and it pushed me off course. I have adjusted to the best of my ability, but it's not perfect. So my next navigational beacon is 115.1, and I've already plonked that in. That is Halifax, and it's 158 nautical miles run to Halifax now, and Halifax is RMI Needle 1. You can see the RMI Needle 2, which is Sydney, is swinging round, so we're basically flying right over Sydney now. So now let's just... Yep, that's Sydney right there. So the new heading to Halifax is 266. So let's just flip that over to VOR 1 and put in 266, like so. Now we can see we're slightly to the right-hand side of the radial, which isn't bad. That should be okay. I'm just wondering if it is. I think because I'm now going inbound. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm going inbound to. Yeah, I'm going to the VOR, not away from it. If I flip that around, it says from. So that's 266. Yeah, that should be no problem at all. So I'm going to just turn. If I hit D, that should resync the heading indicator to the magnetic compass, You can see we've climbed up to about 190 knots, which is fine. I'm not going to. We've climbed a little bit higher than we actually need to, so I'm going to nose down even more and. Oh, not too much though, because we have our seatbelt signs off. I did run into some pretty moderate to heavy turbulence a while ago, and had to flip on the seatbelt signs quite quickly. So let's have a look now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn left and come onto, I'm going to say 268 maybe? Yeah, let's say 268. Because I'm not quite sure what the wind is doing now, the wind might still be quite strong, so I'm going to do my best to track this new radial 266 into Halifax. So, let's just double check VATSIM to see where our friend is. He may have landed by now. Yes. No, he didn't. He's still 8,000 feet over the sea. Alex is yeah, he's low and slow. So we've sped up to 258 knots, and he's still at a 118. So we're going, you know, pretty much twice as fast as he is now, at least. So yeah, inbound to LaGuardia, nothing massive in terms of ATC yet, but you never know, as we get closer we might get some more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tune in the Yarmouth VOR, which is 113.3 on RMI2. That's 113.3, like so. And as you can see, it goes back to its resting position, because we're not inside the range of Yarmouth yet, but when we do, we'll see that flip up and track forwards. Okay folks, so look, we're over 200 knots now. Look at that, descending through 25,000 feet. Yeah, we did climb quite a bit higher in our cruise than we should have. I should have been on top of that, but I'm doing other work at the same time as flying this aircraft, so which isn't a very good combination. Yeah, coming into a bit of turbulence again through these clouds. Actually, I'm going to level out at 25,000 feet. I'm not going to risk going any further down into that turbulence. So if ATC comes on and starts barking at me, I'm just saying that I'm climbing above the turbulence, which I am. So, yeah, but there we go. So yeah, not much else to report other than that. Things are still going pretty smoothly. Everything's nice and smooth. So it could be worse right now. It could be worse. So I will reach you back. We've got 138 nautical miles to run until Halifax now. So I will come back to you when we are, let's say, actually, since we're going to be doing this, I'll come back to you when I'm at Nantucket, guys, by the way. Because we've got, you know, a good couple of hundred nautical miles to go through before. And it's basically the same situation. It's going to be the same process of flipping one from one radial to another as we go down the coast. So I'll come back to you at Nantucket, and just after Nantucket I'm going to begin our descent into LaGuardia as I take a right hand turn from 249 to 280, and I come down the channel with Long Island on our left hand side, and yeah, so I will see you later on, folks. Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to the video. As you can see, I'm actually in a different position now. I'm climbing out of Nantucket. Essentially, the simulation crashed. It wasn't because I had a VAS issue. I didn't run out of VAS. It was some random crash where P3D just says, you know what, I'm not going to continue running anymore. So, absolutely nothing I can do about that, I'm afraid. But at the moment, I just spawned in on the nearest airfield that I was at when I crashed, which of course was Nantucket. And I suppose in the grand scheme of the video, we're just going to have to say that we must have made a fueling stop or some sort of, maybe we did an emergency stop at Nantucket. So we had to descend, land, and now we're taking off again, and now we are inbound to LaGuardia. So I'm just turning around and I will be on. Let's go back to, so after Nantucket is Sandy Point, which is 117.8, so let's put that in. 117.8, and this is a fantastic time to talk about P3D version 4, which should be in 64-bit, 280, so I need to be heading 280. Now, I don't just announce that very lightly, like that's actually a pretty momentous change, and excuse me, I've just had lunch. I recently, to turn off the nose light, the wing, tail, those two lights, strobe and beacon and pitot should be fine to be on. So I heard on some forums that P3D version 4 is being talked about, and the people who are developing it, Lockheed Martin, it's kind of been leaked as far as I know that version 4 is going to be 64-bit, and apparently it's in beta and it's going well, but don't really take any of my words and say, oh yeah, this is 100% fact, because I don't even know what's going on. That's just what I heard, but you know what the internet's like, so don't take that as solid fact and then blame me whenever someone gets fired or whatever. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to a 64-bit where I don't actually have to worry about VAS, and hopefully it's going to be more stable than the current P3D version 3. I think I'm still running 3.2 or something, or 3.3. Yeah, I think I'm running 3.3. I'm not running 3.4 yet. Anyway, so that was a bit of an annoying thing, having to have a crash for no reason, and I very rarely get crashes for no reason. All of my crashes these days are because I've had VAS issues, where I have too much VAS and it just crashes because of that. But this was just one of those really weird out-of-the-box crashes for no apparent reason. So what I'm doing now is I'm climbing up to, I'm going to say we're going to climb up to maybe 10,000 feet, because as soon as if we get up to 24,000 feet, we're going to have to start descending again pretty quick, because Nantucket isn't terribly far away from LaGuardia in New York. It's only just down in this direction for another maybe 45 minutes to an hour, I'd imagine. So yeah, I'm just heading in this general direction to pick up the VOR of Sandy Point, which, as I remember, was the Sandy Point VOR was a small range VOR. What I could do is I could go to Nantucket. I could fly the outbound radial of 249 from Nantucket, actually. So if I just go to Nantucket is in there, that's true. If I go to 249, like so, and if I just go and attack that radial, I should, if I turn on to maybe 250 or 240 maybe, that crosswind, so it stops my, yeah, and then it just does that, it throws me sideways. I hate that. Oh well, what can you do? Just make sure my manifold pressure is doing well, and I can take my fastened seatbelts and no smoking off. So this basically reset my career mode to be from Nantucket. So there's really not a lot I could do about that. So you know, life of a simmer. So I'm going to fly on to this outbound radial from Nantucket, and I will see you guys at Sandy Point. I'm going to just climb up to 10,000 feet and hold 10,000, and I will see you there. And I thought it would be good to turn the video recording on now. As you can see, we have JFK controller, and we also have New York Center on. I'm probably going to be talking to New York Center the most. Well, the JFK controller, I don't know if JFK is close enough to LaGuardia that I need to be talking to JFK approach controller as well, despite the fact that we're not going into JFK, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, I'll first be talking to New York Center anyway, so my voice is not doing terribly well, but I think we should be okay. So I'm going to continue our turn. We've just done a turn there. Okay, so New York controllers 12532. So let's go put that in first. And I'm going to need a writing implement, because I don't know about you guys, but the way I work when I fly on VATSIM is I always write down transmissions as they come into me, so that I always have a visual check or a visual reference to what has been said to me in the past. So okay, let's get a piece of paper with some space here. Okay, right. So let's go back and check. JFK has ATIS, but just gonna have to make sure my altimeter is 1013, and see if we can descend to flight level 130, so that we have some sort of level altitude to call out to him.
Good morning, Center Eastern, 623 with you 370. And Eastern 623 at flight level 370. Good morning, New York Center, squawk 6651.
What is RMI2? 117.8. Oh, that's Sandy Point. Yeah, okay. So now, after Sandy Point is bridge point 1088. And 1088 is on a...
And Eastern 623, radio contact about 1-2 miles south of the Davies intersection. Maintain flight level 370.
Should be capturing the bridge point VOR soon as well. I'm not sure when to contact the controller. I think probably as I get closer to Land's End, or not Land's End, sorry, Long Island.
JetBlue 906, cross Genoat and maintain flight level 230.
Cross Genoat and maintain flight level 230 for JetBlue 906.
Beautiful weather to be flying today. That's lovely. Just see if I can pop down to flight level 130 before he wants to contact me. There we go. Should be getting into the Bridgeport VOR soon. Bridgeport, not Bridgepoint. So yeah, folks, this is the second time I'm going to be talking to VATSIM control as well, flying the Lockheed Constellation. I did this same leg. Oh, there's the VOR. Okay, now I can turn off the second VOR so we don't get like that. And turn off. I didn't mean to open After Effects. Sorry. Yeah. So now we're flying inbound to Bridgeport, and we're 58 nautical miles inbound to Bridgeport. Yep, so he's asked me to contact me. Yeah, 12532. And that's... Okay, fine, Plan G doesn't want to work anymore. I wasn't using you anyway. Says New York Control. Good morning, New York Control, KLM 990 with you, flight level 130 inbound Bridgeport, 56 nautical miles.
And KLM 9090, good morning to you, New York Center, Squawk 6656.
Squawk 6656, KLM 990. Okay, squawk code. Six, 5, 6. There we go. 6656. Excuse me. Let's just hope he doesn't.
KLM 990 New York Center, radar contact approximately 48 miles east of the Bridgeport VOR.
Thank you.
And KLM 990, maintain 13,000, current altimeter at Kennedy 29087.
Altimeter 29087, do my best to maintain flight level 130, KLM 990. Okay, that's 29087. Okay, looks like we need to climb a bit. So he's gonna try and keep me on the right place. Now we're on VATSIM, folks. We're gonna have to do our best to fly this properly and by the book. And I thought I'd bring up my...
And Eastern 623, cross news at and maintain flight level 270.
That was news at flight level 270, Eastern 623.
And that's affirmative, sir.
Oh. Oh, perfect. Look at that.
In KLM 990, you can expect vectors for the ILS runway 22 approach to LaGuardia.
Expect vectors for 22 at LaGuardia. Thanks very much, 990. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted, so... That's to the ILS 22
JetBlue 906, be advised, information hotel is now current at Kennedy.
Okay, ILS 22. Right.
Okay, information hotel at Kennedy, JetBlue 906.
Right, we're coming off the radial slightly, which isn't good. Let me see if I can adjust for that. And keep my altitude down. I want to keep on top of this. I'm being watched now. So I can't just do this willy-nilly. I can't be sloppy about this. I'm flying in controlled airspace now. with the seatbelt off, by the way, just so I can remember that, and Peter, all that's fine as well. Okay, so coming down to flight level 130 again. Just going to do my best to hold that. Yeah, fantastic. 285. Yeah, to Bridgeport, that's fine. 69 nautical miles, 43 nautical miles outbound of that. And just need to make sure that we stay on that radial. Excuse me. So there's Long Island.
Gentlemen, we have pancakes.
Ooh, pancakes. What is that, lunch? No, passengers are eating breakfast. Okay.
Here you go, sir.
The stewardess got reset whenever I had to retake off from Nantucket, so they're actually
KLM 990, descend and
There
maintain
you go.
8,000.
descend and maintain 8,000 KLM 990.
Got it.
Actually,
Thanks, Darren.
sorry darlings, I've got to actually descend
On your
now.
right.
So
Thank you, Ben.
you're gonna put your seatbelts on while you eat breakfast.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has put the non-smoking sign up, so please refrain from smoking while the no smoking sign is on.
Okay, I'm gonna bring the speed back slightly. Okay, beginning descent. Okay, in the descent phase, we don't really have any. We are auto lean. Okay, that's okay, and that's okay until we get down to about, I don't know, 8,000 feet, and then I'll put it back to auto rich. The fact that it's auto means that it will automatically sort itself out, so I don't really need to change it back to auto mac or auto rich. But I'm gonna sneeze again. Am I gonna sneeze? Am I? Am I? I hope not. Okay. Let's bring the propellers back. Don't want to overspeed. Not that we would in this range of speed, but just don't want to let the aircraft. Yeah, don't want to let the aircraft be flying me as opposed to me flying the aircraft. But it's pretty quiet today. It's a beautiful, beautiful, cold but clear morning in New York. Just to show you that it's still working. Active Sky 2016 is still actually working and injecting cloud. The only thing is that we've just got a really nice clear day. It is actually working, and we've just got an aircraft coming out of JFK. Is Connie Dodd. Okay, it's not, yeah.
We should raise our power or lower the RPM.
And JetBlue 906, you can expect vectors for the ILS runway 22 left approach. Cross Lindy at and maintain flight level 190 and 250 knots.
We're still not back on that radial. We're still drifting off it. So
Expect the vectors for 22 left,
turn.
for Kennedy and same, and cross Lindy at flight level 190.
I'll fly 300 because I don't want to let go of that radial.
And Eastern 623, you are leaving my airspace. Our friends at Boston are still offline, so radar service is terminated. Frequency change to Unicom is approved. Take care now.
think he's the same guy that I flew in
Sorry, we'll
earlier
monitor
this
you,
week.
623.
He's the same guy that I monitored earlier in the week when I did this.
KLM 990, depart Bridgeport, heading 260.
When I get to Bridgeport, depart it heading 260 degrees, KLM 990. Okay, so he's given me a heading direct from Bridgeport at 260 degrees, which is fine, but I've got 26 nautical miles to run before I get to Bridgeport. I just need to make sure that I'm on that radial. And let's actually just check.
JetBlue 906, depart Lindy, heading
Yeah, actually the wind
180.
is... my navigator is telling me the wind is coming from straight ahead of us, which is fine. I just want to make sure that I get back on that radial. So... Excuse me. Okay, coming through 10,000 feet, gonna turn my landing lights on. Like so. Wing, tail, nose. And I'm going to keep the pass light on, just for... The pass light is meant for traffic, so if any traffic is flying towards me and I'm flying towards them... It's basically, back in the old days before we had TCAS, that red light on the nose, the pass light, was used for aircraft that were passing you. And if they saw that red light, they knew that the aircraft they were looking at was heading towards them.
Just a little update from the flight deck.
Yeah.
We're currently
So.
descending and will soon be on approach, so our friendly stewardesses will now prepare the cabin.
Yeah, they will. Friendly stewardesses will now prepare the cabin. Okay, yeah, I can see that localizer, not the localizer, sorry, the radial is coming in. And I'm not above 250 knots below 10,000, which is fine. Okay, coming through, down through, we've got 1,400 feet to go before we level out at 8,000. And I remember him saying leave Bridgeport at 260 degrees. Okay, there's the radial. My heart rejoices to see it again. And because the wind is still, my first officer ensures me the wind is coming pretty much straight ahead. So as soon as we get back on that radial, we will... Okay, also... Also, we've got to remember that we're coming down through 8,000 feet now.
JetBlue 906, descend and maintain 16,000.
Gonna maintain 16,000. JetBlue 906.
Right, so continuing descent, gonna level out at 8,000, so coming close now. Let's just bring the nose up. Not that far up. There we go, that's better. That's Bridgeport right there, I'm sure.
JetBlue 906, descend and maintain 13,
That's Bridgeport right there.
Current altimeter at Kennedy 2987. These are vectors for the ILS runway 22 left approach.
Maintain 13,000. Altimeter 2987.
Okay, holding 8,000. Let's put mixture rich. If he wants to set that back to auto lean, the engineer can if he wants. That's up to him. Okay, inbound to Bridgeport, you can see. We're directly right there. As far as I know, that's where the VOR is. Don't want to descend below that.
JetBlue 906, I do need you to maintain 250 knots or less, please.
Roger, 250 or less.
It's 5 nautical miles to Bridgeport now. And we'll take a left-hand turn to 260. Ah, it's plus 3 degrees Celsius out here. The free air temperature is plus 3. That's nice. Okay, eating breakfast. Well, you're going to be eating the breakfast with the seatbelt signs on, ladies and gents. I really don't want to turn the seatbelts off as soon as he's going to probably vector me even lower. So... okay, prep for the approach. ILS 22, he said. So that's... ILS or LOC 22 is that's true heading of 224, and that's frequency 110.5. Altitude at end of glide is 3,000. Okay, 2 miles now to the VOR. I think this time I'm really going to sneeze. Actually, no, am I?
JetBlue 906, descend and maintain 8,000. Turn left,
dear.
heading 130.
The VOR is going to be down there somewhere. Okay. I'm going to make that turn to 260 degrees now. Like so. And now he's going to give me vectors as far as I can tell. Just work with my altitude. Every time you take a turn in the Constellation, it knocks off your altitude hold because it changes the lift pattern on the wings when you actually roll from left to right. So I'm going 187 knots, which is fine. Okay, so from... he's just given me a direct heading to fly. But if I want to fly, he said 260 degrees. Like so. If I wanted to fly 260 degrees outbound from Bridgeport...
JetBlue 906, can you expedite that rate of descent, please?
Also, try to do the faster.
Thank you. It's a steep approach into Kennedy.
So I'm going right down the channel here. I keep...
New York Center, good morning. Speedbird 178 heavy. You climbing past 100 for 110. Speedbird 178 heavy.
Oh. Hi, he's
Speedbird 178 heavy. Good morning to you, sir. New York Center. Proceed direct Merit. Climb and maintain 17,000.
Proceed direct and climb 17,000. Speedbird 178 heavy.
He's off to my
Speedbird 178 heavy.
left-hand side.
Resume on navigation.
After Merit, resume navigation. Speedbird 178 heavy.
He's going to pass me on my left-hand side.
KLM 990, turn right, heading 270.
Turn right 270 degrees, KLM 990.
JetBlue 906, turn left, heading 040.
Left heading 040.
I'm not going to use the... I'm not going to use that anymore as a direct, because he's giving me more vectors that aren't based on the instruments. Okay, so frequency is 110.5 for the ILS. Let's get that in. That's there.
Speedbird 178, heavy climb and maintain 17,000, please.
And that's 224.
Climbing now to 17,000. Speedbird 178 heavy, sorry.
Okay.
Like so. And that's going to become active when we get closer to the ILS. He's probably going to vector me lower now. So, yeah, this is fun. I like this. LaGuardia is off to our left-hand side. I'm really a little bit apprehensive. I really hope that this goes perfectly smoothly. Really hope.
New York United 504 on the ground at Newark, requesting IFR clearance to Chicago O'Hare.
And United 504, good morning to you, New York Center. Contact New York departure on 135.9 for clearance.
135.9, thank you, sir. United 504.
No problem. KLM 990, descend and maintain 6,000.
Descend and maintain 6,000, KLM 990. Okay, 6,000 feet. He's given me. We're going to continue our descent.
JetBlue 906,
confirmed
descend and
seatbelts
maintain
are on.
5,000.
Oh wow, I'm already at 7,000 feet, which means I must have drifted lower. God, I needed to be on top of my altitude more than that.
Speedbird 178 heavy, you are leaving my airspace. Our friends at Boston are still not online, so radar service is terminated. Frequency change to Unicom is approved. Have a great flight to London.
Unfortunately, thanks very much. Switching to Unicorn 122, just mate. Thanks for your service. Have a good day. Speedbird 178 heavy.
Okay, 600 feet to go.
We hope you have enjoyed the flight as we are now preparing to land.
Oh good, clearing up breakfast. Short legs in the Connie are fun.
KLM 990, descend and maintain 4,000.
Descend and maintain 4,000, KLM 990. Okay, he's just continued me through to 4,000.
JetBlue 906, turn left, heading 010.
Left heading 010 from JetBlue 906.
Just trying to pull the throttle out there because I'm at 211 knots. It's easy to slow this thing down because it's a propeller aircraft rather than a jet aircraft, so it's not a massive deal. When you're a jet, it's just harder to slow down. You don't have the stopping power. The props actually aid in the deceleration, because if you have your props slower than the airflow that's going past them, the props actually act like brakes.
American 1138, just stand by for a moment. Okay,
coming down through 5,000, 400 feet left to go before we level out.
Aircraft be advised, Kennedy information, India is now current.
Okay.
American 1138, I'll have that clearance for you in about 30 seconds.
Thank you, 113.
KLM 990, descend and maintain 3000.
Okay, he's going to give me a left-hand turn sometime soon to get onto that localizer, but not quite yet. Level out.
KLM 990, descend and maintain 3000.
3,000, 990.
JetBlue 906, turn left heading 350, descend maintain 3000.
Okay, he's cleared me to 3,000. That's fine.
KLM 990, 11 miles from Greco. Turn left heading 250, maintain 3000 until established. Cleared ILS runway 22 approach to LaGuardia.
That's take a left-hand turn 250 degrees, maintain 3,000 feet, cleared to the ILS 22 approach for LaGuardia, KLM 990.
American 1138, good morning, New York Center, you're cleared to Bermuda via the LaGuardia 5 departure.
He said,
LaGuardia 5 departure, vectors Deer Park, Venice 5, climb via SID, top altitude 5,000, expect 3,000, 10 minutes after departure, flight level 330, 10 minutes after departure. Depart with me, 125.32, squawk 6647.
Good Bermuda, LaGuardia 5, Deer Park. Initial 5,000, 330 in 10. Departures of view, squawk 6647, American 113.
American 113, 1138. Feedback is correct. You can push and start at your discretion. Expect runway 31 for departure. Advises frequency when ready to taxi.
Go to taxi 31, 113.
Okay.
Give us a call for that taxi clearance.
Okay, on the localizer.
Yes, sir, 113.
Okay, now I've got to slow down.
990. LaGuardia wind 220 at 9, runway 22, clear line.
Clear land runway 22 at LaGuardia, KLM 990, thanks. Okay.
JetBlue 906, turn left heading 310.
Whoa. Whoa, just trim that out, baby. Okay, I want to get down to about 100 knots. That would be good. Oh, a little bit of a freeze there. Whoa, that's New York loading in right there. That makes me uneasy. Okay, I can see the runway now. And we're off the localizer, but I can see the runway. It's just over there. Whatever you do, please do not crash on me now. That would be the worst thing. I don't want to re-record this leg again, please. So you can see that LaGuardia is just down there, but JFK scenery is just over there. And you've got New York, the center of Manhattan, just over there. So you really have to tone things down depending on where you want to land. So if I want to land at LaGuardia, I turn off my JFK scenery. If I want to land at JFK, I turn off my LaGuardia scenery. And that's the only way I can fly in here without destroying myself. Okay, so first notch of flaps.
JetBlue 906, 10 miles from Southpole, turn left heading 250, maintain 3000 until established. Cleared ILS runway 22 approach. That's 22 left, sorry.
That's 100 knots. Fantastic.
That's 250 and clear ILS approach. 22 left, maintain 3000.
We're under the glide, so let's just coast here at about 200 knots descent rate, 200 feet per minute descent rate, I should say. get my gear and my second notch of flaps down.
Approach flaps.
Maybe I'm going too fast for my gear. Nope, I just didn't pull the button properly.
Gear down.
Gear down and locked. 3 green, that's good. Okay. A little bit more power. We're not on short final yet. We're not on short final yet, so.
Injector 906 for power services, contact Kennedy, New York departure now 135.9.
What was the 135 like that for?
Yeah, the wind is actually directly ahead.
Alright.
Good descent rate. Nice and stable. Oop, who's that off to my left hand side? An A320. Okay, bang on, look at that. Right, let's see if we can hold that now. At 100 knots, our descent rate should be about 500 feet per minute. So, since our speed is slightly under 100 feet per minute, or speed is under 100 knots, we'll have our descent rate at maybe 400 feet per minute. Let's just get that to 400, make sure that we stay on the localizer there. Whoa, what was that noise? That was V-Pilot. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Oh, whatever you do, please don't crash now. That's just... Okay, just about above the glide. Let's bring that down. Landing flaps.
Flaps down.
Okay, our weight is probably a bit heavy because we took off from excuse me. We took off with from Nantucket with heavy fuel load and heavy passengers, so our landing weight is actually heavier than it normally would be. Normally we would have burnt off a fair amount of fuel from coming all the way from Gander, but there you go. Can't have everything apparently in flight sim yet. P3D version 4 with 64-bit though. There we go. We might have everything. Okay. Nice stable approach, a little bit low on the glide. Let's pull that up slightly. Mixture is rich, props are full, and yeah, just coast it down onto the runway. And try not to freeze, please.
Tower Marshal 113 LaGuardia, ready for taxi 31.
American 1138, runway 31, taxi right on Bravo, Zulu. Current altimeter at LaGuardia 2985.
50, 40,
Bravo Zulu, runway 31, 113.
10.
Setting now flaps.
Good stuff. Good to hear the passengers clapping as well. Flight braking. Pull the flaps up.
Flaps up.
Runway 22 at LaGuardia vacated.
Okay, L-990, welcome to LaGuardia. Stand by just for a moment. American 1138, that's runway 31, that's a right on Bravo. There we go, thank you, sir.
The taxiway, sorry.
We're now taxiing back
No, no problem, just
Please remain in your seat.
our scope is not always marked the same as people see that, we understand that. Okay, L-990, welcome to LaGuardia, you can taxi the gate via Bravo. I do have American Airbus 321, he's taxiing out to runway 31.
Roger that. We've got taxi via Bravo to a gate for KLM 990. Where is this 320? Ah, there he is. Okay. I want a taxi. I want to go for a bit of a taxi. Let's go over to from here. Let's go over to let's say the gate in 14. I said via Bravo. Oh yeah, this is Bravo. Yeah. Let's get rid of that.
American 1138, fly heading 360. LaGuardia wind 220 at 9er, runway 31, cleared for takeoff.
What was the heading again? The second number cut off.
360, sir.
60, clear for takeoff, 113.
Oh, strobe still on. It's the one thing I forgot. It's at the very end. Okay, folks, thank you very much for joining me for the leg from Gander to LaGuardia. Thank you very much. Sorry it crashed halfway towards Nantucket, but we had to do. Let's just say that we had to do an unscheduled stop at Nantucket on our way up to down to LaGuardia. But you know, this is 1940 and these things happen, and safety is our #1 priority. So let's just see that 320 take off, and then we'll turn. Not here at Alpha, we'll turn on the next. Oh, he pulls up early. Oh, it's a 321. Okay, I thought it was a 320. Oh, he pulled up early. He pulled up early. I don't think he actually should have pulled up that early. But there we go. Maybe he did it for the camera. I'm not sure. Okay. So we've actually made it this far, which is amazing. Okay, turning on to Juliet. I should do some more flying in and out of JFK.
Sir, American 113 is in the air past 1,500.
American 1138, radar contact, turn right heading, climb and maintain 6,000.
6,113.
There's my gate right there.
The York United 504, off 22 right at Newark, 10,000.
And United 504, good morning, New York Center. Proceed direct coat, then on course, climb and maintain 17,000.
Okay.
Direct coat and on course up to 17,000, United 504.
An American 1138, turn right, heading 130.
130, 13.
Shutting down the systems.
Okay, unloading. Okay, folks, thank you very much for joining, and I'm really glad I made it all the way to LaGuardia, even though we did have to stop in Nantucket. But our next flight is going to be from LaGuardia, of course, over to Cancun down. Oh my goodness, look at that view. Even with default scenery.
American 1138, contact New York departure now on 135.9.
Okay, over to departure, 1138.
So yeah,
That's 135.9.
Yes, 135.9. 13.
yeah. So thank you for joining, and I will catch you on the next leg. Sorry, my cold and my whole demeanor today, it's been quite blah, but you know, I've got to use the time I can to do what I can, and I'm massively busy right now doing other video editing projects for, you know, in real life for other people. So I just thought I'd sneak on today as it's a weekend and record this leg.
And United 504, climb and maintain flight level 360.
But loving the Connie and loving this adventure we're going
360,
on,
United 504.
and I look forward to getting all the way down to Cancun, in which is basically South America almost. So yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye.